Damron here. When you're new to something, it's definitely overwhelming. You don't know where, when, how, why, and even a healthy dose of self-doubt can really start to sabotage your efforts. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to get started with healthy eating, exactly what that looks like and what that doesn't. And by the way, last week we chatted about 5 diet myths that should be debunked. So also go check out that video. But by the end of this video, you should have 10 solid steps of things that you can do to start your healthy eating journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button to be notified anytime I post new content related to women's health, hormones, and holistic health. Let's get into 10 steps to healthy eating and tips for you to get started. Number 1 is probably my favorite and sort of a mindset shift. Be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to recognize that this is a journey for the long term. I think especially this time of year, everyone's just like, okay, let's throw everything out and let's just like really buckle down and do all of these really crazy hard things. And it's sort of like this all or nothing thinking in black and white. And I want you to remember that each day, just like 1% better than the next, or than the previous, is super, super helpful and like a really great mentality to start. Healthy eating does not mean perfection with eating, which is something that I really wish somebody would have told me about 15 years ago, because it's been a long journey for me. So settle in. I always kind of visualize when I'm going through a goal that's just going to take time or just be part of my journey, like exercise, healthy eating, health, business, parenting. Any of those things are not about instant gratification. They're about literally just settling in and just kind of like making the decisions to support your goals as we go. And there's always going to be hiccups, always going to be steps backwards, and that is a-okay and should be expected. Number 2 is something that I suggest all of my patients do regularly, is connect with your why and really remember it. So it's buzzy to eat healthy and eat clean or start new diets like paleo or keto or etc. But I think we have to remember like what our why is. And it can't just be a should. I should eat healthy, I should lose weight, but you don't really care. It needs to be a goal that like you really connect with. So think about how you want to feel, like on a really deep level, how you want to age, what you want this to look like, why you decided to start with this in the first place, and really connect with that on a truly daily basis. Number 3 is to start paying attention to hunger cues. I think that so many of us live sort of by a clock and we're just like, oh, I guess it's time to eat, or oh, I guess it's 6 o'clock, I should eat dinner. And it's not that you shouldn't eat dinner at 6 p.m. That's a perfectly reasonable time to eat dinner, and we need dinner, but start paying attention to your hunger cues. Are you actually hungry when you're eating? And I like to take it a step further and actually start to rate this. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and this is in the book Intuitive Eating by Evelyn Tribole, she gives the example of a hunger scale. 0 is you're so hungry and ravenous that you would eat anything in front of you, and a 10 is so full that you want to unbutton your pants, you're immensely uncomfortable. We ideally want to eat between about a 2 and a 3, start eating there, and get to about an 8. So a 2 or a 3 means I'm hungry, I have that gnawing sensation in my stomach, I'm feeling ready for food, but I could probably push it a little bit longer, but you don't need to, because once we get to, a 0 to 1, we are ravenous and then we tend to overeat. So you really want to eat around a 2 or a 3 where you have some self-control, all the way to an 8. And an 8 means that you're full, you don't have that gnawing sensation in your stomach anymore. You could eat more, but you don't need to because you're satisfied. And this truly, in my own journey for learning hunger cues and intuitive eating, this was a practice that took me probably the longest. And it's something that you have to kind of think about over and over and over, but it is really immensely helpful in employing some mindfulness with eating. So I encourage you to start kind of paying attention to hunger cues, seeing if you're just eating because it's time to eat, or because everyone else is eating, or if you eat when you're legitimately hungry. The other thing about this is paying attention to emotional eating. So emotional eating comes on really quickly. It's like you're fine, you're not hungry, you've just eaten or whatever, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my gosh, I need some M&Ms, or like, give me some food right now. That's more emotional hunger. And when you start to notice that, that's fine. A lot of people have that. Start to really recognize like what the feeling is. And I actually did a video all about emotional eating. If this is a struggle for you, go listen to that video, and I have lots more more tips there. Number 4 is practice meal prepping. I actually did a video all about this as well that I'll leave in the description below, but meal prepping is so helpful for healthy eating because we already have it made, right? I think for me, in my family, if healthy food's not readily available and in the fridge, I tend to grab what is. We're busy, we're in kids' sports like many of you, activities, we work all day, my husband and I have the house, 2 dogs, like we have all the things, right? Like many of you. And so food prep, we don't really love to do it every single day. So if we have at least a protein in the fridge, and usually we do some frozen vegetables or bag salad kits, and we can definitely get more out of our buck for those calories in terms of healthier food. Number 5 is stock the pantry. Whether you want to prep food to freeze is fine. If you want to take like a Sunday a month and like prep a whole bunch of things, put it in the freezer so that you can pull it out in the weekdays, or you want to get things like Kevin's meals, like sous vide meats or frozen fruits and vegetables, or you want to get like frozen stir fry kits or whatever. Have your freezer stocked with some things that when the going gets tough, you can pull out and kind of save yourself during the week. Number 6 is choose easy fruits as a grab and go snack. Fruits are just as easy to grab as some of our more like processed counterparts like chips and crackers and cookies and things like that. We just tend to not do that as much. So things like berries or clementines, or even like chop some mango up and put it in the fridge, or pineapple or watermelon, any cherries, grapes, like any of those things can be really great snacks, and they're really nutrient dense. They have fiber, they have potassium, they have some vitamin C most of the time, and they're really yummy as well. Number 7 is learn to read food labels. I think that this is a really nuanced conversation, and some people are like, the fewer the ingredients, the better, which I totally get that, and that's a decent rule of thumb, but it's not like the only thing to look at. So when I'm looking at labels, I think the higher the protein content, the better. So you want to make sure that you're getting in high protein at each meal. Ideally about 20 to 30 grams is a good amount for each meal. So you want to make sure that the protein content is high. And then in terms of carbohydrates, when you're looking at that, a good rule of thumb to look at is 1 gram of fiber for every 10 grams of carbohydrates. So for example, if there's 20 grams of total carbohydrates on the food label, there should be at least 2 grams of fiber in that. And that's sort of a good way of debunking like what's a little bit more nutrient dense for us, a little bit less processed, and the super processed things. Number 8 goes along with this, but macronutrient balance. So we don't want to eat like just carbohydrates. You're going to be fatigued, you're going to be riding a blood sugar roller coaster, have energy crashes, not feel great if we do that. So you really want to ideally get the framework that I give, which is 20 to 30 grams of protein, 10 grams of fiber, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of healthy fats is a great sort of balance of macronutrients. This can be a little bit more of an advanced strategy if you're, start with the first few things that I mentioned and then get into this, but you really do want to make sure that you're getting in some protein at least at each meal, because that will help do a million things for you. We've talked about protein, have a video all about the whys and hows of protein, so go check that out if you want to know more about protein. Number 9 is keep it super simple. If you're not a chef and you don't enjoy cooking like I don't, I really don't, I keep things incredibly simple. Like I said, I have a protein in the fridge all the time. I get bag salad kits a lot. I use frozen veggies. I get things to make that are incredibly simple and sort of like throw them together with different spices and seasonings and sauces and things like that. And that is generally what we do on a pretty consistent basis. If you're somebody who likes to cook and enjoys that, there are great cookbooks out there. I really like Danielle Walker's cookbooks, but there's a myriad of amazing ones out there. Like Skinny Taste is another great recipe blog, Eating Bird Food. And I'm not about the low calorie, like eating bird food. She's just a really great recipe person. So I think that there's great cookbooks and blogs and things like that where you can find really healthy recipes. But if that's not you, like me, don't even worry about it. Just keep it super simple with protein, like an animal protein, a source of fiber, fruits and vegetables, and a little bit of a healthy fat on there, like olive oil or coconut oil, avocado oil, nuts and seeds, nut butters, any of those things. And you should be pretty like full, satiated, and satisfied through your meals. In 10 circles all the way back back to number one. Remember, this is a journey. You do not have to be perfect here. There isn't perfection within nutrition. You want to be flexible and enjoy some treats. The more rigid we are and the more pressure we put on ourselves, that tends to always backfire. Take it from me. I've had a long journey in this and been working with weight loss patients for the last 17 to 18 years. So take it from me, it does backfire. You need to allow yourself to have some more hyper palatable foods like baked goods and treats and, alcoholic beverages, if that's your thing, stuff like that occasionally, to kind of keep yourself going with the more healthy food. Otherwise, you're going to be living in that all or nothing mindset. And that leads to like a restriction, overeat, or binge cycle. So be flexible and enjoy some treats along the way. I hope you found this helpful. If you have family and friends who can use this info, definitely share with them. And also, you guys, I have a free guide called 6 Evidence-Based Habits for Healthy Hormones, where I go through lists just like this. And there's 6 things that you can start to incorporate into your daily life as well to have healthier hormones. I'll see you guys in the next one.